Why is co-creatorship part of our next step in our spiritual awakening and shifting the paradigm? When we engage ourselves in the next stage, the power of now, we are developing our whole self, our spiritual, emotional, and physical well-being, and our mental health, enhancing our intuitive awareness, strengthening our nervous system, which is social change. Consider, as we expand, change consciousness, and evolve within ourselves, we also expand our capacity to a greater understanding and awareness to all life. In learning about co-creatorship, we are stepping further into our spiritual development, widening our circle, raising our consciousness to a new level. In our willingness to participate in co-creative relationships, we are adding to the changes needed to hold a new paradigm of beingness that extends within ourselves and then to other creatures and beings. A human being is a part of the whole called by us the universe, a part limited in time and space. They experience themselves as thoughts and feelings, as something separated from the rest, a kind of optical illusion of our consciousness. This delusion is a kind of prison for us, restricting us to our personal desires and to affection for a few persons nearest to us. Our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature in its beauty. What is co-creatorship? Co-creatorship is two or more beings willingly coming together. In this coming together, there is respect and attention to listening. Listening in this context is deep listening with the heart, not the mind, and listening with feelings, impressions, and being completely present. There is a suspension of intrusive thoughts. In listening with the heart, there is openness and lack of judgment. The act of moving into the space of co-creatorship is the intention to meet with another at this level. The co-creative relationship is often a deep connection that is very meaningful and involves sensitivity, heightened awareness, with an appreciation for other life. Co-creatorship is an awareness of self and awareness of another being. With the scope of this awareness is the motivation to come together without issues, agenda, ego, or an expected outcome that gives to one individual. It is mutual collaboration and willingness to arrive at another stage in togetherness. In the concept of coming together, there is an offering of the self and the presence of being that does not require something from the other, but of their presence. So that is a level of vulnerability. It is a learning process and willingness to show up and to rejoice in the presence of the connection and willingness. A co-creative relationship can occur with people. However, these amazing relationships are not limited to people. A co-creative relationship can also occur with other species and plants and even the essence of an area. How does the co-creative relationship differ from how we usually engage with another person or being? Our being and our energy field does not govern the other creature or person, which means there is no power dynamic or hierarchy. In the co-creative relationship, our energy field and body, mind, and emotions do not experience separation or dominance or indifference. There is a conscious intention to meet the other, whoever the other is, with reverence and understanding with an equal footing and mutual benefit of interaction. When one person or being initiates co-creatorship, or the other being can sense and feel this willingness, approaching another creature with the intention of co-creatorship stimulates awareness. This sensation is of the mirror neurons and psychological, emotional, and spiritual resonance of meeting another being in this sacred place. And sometimes both beings can initiate this type of relationship from the beginning. The relationship of co-creatorship is conscious on the part of at least one of the participants, and the other participant can sense and willingly respond to arrive with the same energy. Two or more beings and groups of beings can create a co-creative relationship. When co-creatorship is present in a relationship, there is the potential for raising the energy higher and higher in an exponential manner. Co-creatorship energy fields are collaborative and respectful as well as meaningful. There is a resonance that triggers potential growth, development, and inspiration. When seen by others who are not even participating in the exchange, they can grasp the meaning and pass the energy onward by duplication. The tenets of co-creatorship are integrity, respect, and honoring and intention. People can co-create and cooperate with their inner intelligence and nature. It is an exchange and beginning of a unique and far-reaching cooperation. It is important and even vital, for unless we do this by harmonizing and co-creating, we can destroy our planet. Our failure to recognize the truth that nature is part of the whole instead of us humans completely dominating the planet by our choices leads to the destruction or ruin of world patterns through consequences such as global warming, written in 1980 by Dorothy McLean. What is required to step into the space of co-creatorship? Anyone can become a co-creator with another animal or creature. Our desire and willingness to become a partner is part of our innate being. Co-creatorship is another aspect of the power of now. The power of now involves being fully present in the moment, which is also connecting to our breathing pattern. This means instead of experiencing others as separate, to hold yourself open with your heart, to connect and to step into that space, which is a space of vulnerability. Practicing stepping forward by connecting and opening your heart to the process, and breathing and taking awareness is part of this, and listening without projecting. We're learning many benefits of using the power of now, and we are learning many ways when we can become fully present in the moment, which helps us release our separation, promotes our openness and willingness. Our dominant culture promulgates the separation we have from others, so it is stepping through this space. In this stepping through, we are open and vulnerable to feel and experience. This willingness does not include harm, but observation and communication. So it is listening and not projecting, opening more and more, gives us wisdom that was used long ago by cultures who understood and know there is really no separation. Without connection, we are dying, because it is the very connection to ourselves through the process of deepening into our inner knowing that we survive and thrive. This deeper connection to plants and animals, creatures, other human beings, and to ourselves, those who have gone before us and to those who will come after us. This may be from our pain that propels us inward instead of connecting outward. It is also because of superficial values and greed. These values cause disturbances in people, which result in depression, overwhelm, illness, anger, anxiety, and can lead to physical illness. In the connection of co-creatorship, there is a dynamic energy that awakens within. The region of the dynamic presence is in the heart. Co-creatorship emanates from the heart and knowing rather than our thoughts. In our world, there is an emphasis on living in the head and thoughts, which keeps us in hypervigilance, which separates us from this connection and place of being. It isn't that some people can locate the co-creatorship place of being while others cannot. This is a resonance within each person. Here's an example of co-creatorship. I live in Tucson, Arizona, which is an extraordinarily beautiful and diverse desert. However, as in many places around the world, development has discarded and devalued the habitat, plants, and creatures. While some of the homes in my neighborhood have gravel and very few plants, which is a type of landscaping, my house borders the houses that are all desert and those houses where the yards are stripped of natural vegetation. After moving in 20 years ago, I drove by sites that were under development where the desert was completely bulldozed, crushing wildlife and all the plants. The sorrow of the creatures was intense. I collected huge barrel cactuses and all varieties of cactus that were going to the dump and their death, and planted them, bringing them home, getting many cactus thorns and needles stuck under my skin for many months. So some of the cactus did not survive, but most of them did. And now the yard appears to be original desert, although originally there was only a few mesquite trees. Some years later, I made a silent statement opening the property to the protection of all creatures. The use of chemicals or pesticides for any reason has never been part of this property, so there was no danger anywhere inside or out. Over the years, we have had many varieties of snakes, rodents, javelinas, tiny to large birds, some of which are endangered, coyotes, jackrabbits, bobcats, and even mountain lion. And yes, I live in the city. As a confirmation, last year a wild bee swarm established their hive in our abandoned, on-the-ground pack rat nest. And this is a pile of cactus that are hollowed out on the inside. A dear friend contributed ancient images of beehives that inspired a modern version. So this year, the modern version was constructed in the early spring, so the annual spring swarm of bees would hopefully find their way to this new lodging, and it was placed in a tree. And the new swarm of bees is now in residence in this unconventional bee house. So I had approached the bees with the intention of co-creatorship to allow them a space to continue on our property in safety. What are the benefits of co-creatorship? When two people or beings approach each other in co-creatorship, there is a higher order of interaction and vulnerability. This vulnerability is powerful and potent because of how it enlivens and enhances our being. This higher order of communication affects the entire energy system and the physical body, stimulating emotional intelligence and training our thoughts. The parts of our energy body that are affected are heightening of our intuition and knowing. There often is stimulation of expression, which enhances our ability to listen deeply, not just hear. A sense of acceptance and safety also impact our communication. The heart opens as there is honor in co-creatorship, which does not diminish personal power. Deepening the connection can also occur because there may be excitement and appreciation that potentiates possibilities for further expansion and increasing communication. In the willingness, there is openness to process and accept the situation, which means there is no overwhelming energy. and the root of our being stays grounded and balanced because there are no threats of dominance or diminishing of power. Participation in co-creative relationships can activate the sense of purpose and life mission. Other awareness can occur about sacred relationships and co-creatorship agreements. Co-creatorship is a cooperative venture with another individual or group with sentient awareness. A sentient awareness belongs to all. All includes creatures of the land, air, and sea, as well as the realms of plants, and it is innate within us. Chief Sealth of the Duwamish reminds us that what befalls the earth befalls the sons of the earth. And Albert Einstein reminds us that any society which does not insist upon respect for all life must necessarily decay. We shall require a substantially new manner of thinking if mankind is to survive. Our ability to come into attunement with our co-creatorship opens to not being alone. There are greater mysteries that we cannot imagine until we open ourselves to these possibilities through trust and allowing. Some of the content for this video is from the book Fields of Light, 65 Vivid Images and Descriptions of the auric field chakras and mental, emotional, and physical relationships, and from the e-course Spiritual Awakening Intuition Evolution Part 3 at the store at twi.education. Thanks for listening from Dr. Susan Sophia James and Transformational Wisdom Institute at twi.education.